Welcome to the April edition of Digging Up Positivity. This month an update on all the furry charities around the world. How Coyote Vs Acme got saved from the shelf. Cat butt controllers. Who wrote this stuff? And our special guest is an amazing, pie-tastic Duino Duck. But first, let's start with the charity updates. A little catcher-upper, but earlier this year, the wonderful critters from Further Confusion raised $17,000 for the LGBTQ youth spaces, a family and children's center offering safe and confidential spaces ranging from support groups, art workshops, all the way to provide connections and resources for anyone who might need it.
It's Roman. Let's go bowling.
And I couldn't agree more. The awesome beasties from When Furball Strikes Edition 52 raised $1,500 for Camp Woodridge, an organization devoted to give joy, adventure and rest to family with children who have special needs. Now, if that isn't a strike for good, I don't know what is. Our fuzzy friends at Lone Star Furcon raised $4,198 for Queertopia, an organization that provides housing resources for LGBTQ+ individuals that experience homelessness. And in Canada, Vancoufur raised $14,016.90 for Community, an LGBTQ-focused charity providing support, connection and leadership, such as art workshops, employment programs, counseling and other aid, empowering again those who need it within the community. Back in the USA, Bewhiskered managed to raise $14,200.91 for Safe Haven for Cats, a lovely organization that has orchestrated the adoptions of over 16,000 cats and kittens during their lifetime, back from when they started out in a garage, but eventually becoming the first no-kill shelter in their area. The 1,745 lovely boopers from FurTheMore raised $26,000 for the Frederick Center, an organization serving the LGBTQ community ever since its inception in 2012 by bringing them together through various programs and partnering up with various other LGBTQ-friendly organizations. Our Canadian fuzzies at Furnal Equinox have raised $14,355.25 for the Procyon Wildlife, a local organization dedicated to help the wild animals in need of care for the area around Orangeville, Ontario in Canada. Indie Alpaca was doing a fun fundraiser stream where you could donate for the Starlight Children Foundation with their Beastie Ball Iron Man random stream. Those who donated could name the Beastie characters or numbers, or even get their own serenade. At the time of recording, the amount raised stands on $45. Almost 3,000 registered fluffbutts raised over $10,000 at the Golden State Furcon for Wonky Hearts Animal Haven. Founded in 2020, they are active in California, working hard to rehabilitate and foster and place animals into a loving forever home. With so many good beings around, sometimes you want to put them in the limelight. The people that are exemplary, leading the pack, but also those behind the curtains, making all those amazing events possible. Or to make sure that you can enjoy these wonderful photos or videos reminiscing those happy memories. There is a way you can do this through the 7th Annual Good Furry Awards. Nominations are open until July 31st on the form listed below. There are various categories, such as the Good Egg Award for charitable and volunteer work, the Image Award for those creating wonderful media and videos, the Fantastic Award for amazing work that doesn't really fit in the earlier categories, and to top it all off, there is a Lifetime Achievement Award, which is selected by a special committee. The winners will be announced on another Furcon in Ontario, California, USA in September. Well, as a meerkat, I am industrious for sure. And I love building simulators. From SimCity back in the days to City Skylines, I can get lost in them for hours on end. So, of course, Steam started to recommend me related games, one of them being a rave, Kingdom on the Distant Shores, which is due for 2026, which had a lovely trailer with foxes. Now, of course, I could start questions right away from the expanding fox empire. What would that mean for the rabbit population? And besides all of this, I can't get rid of that one moment in the trailer where that fox cub goes, "Hey Dad, let's invade another country." The game is set to release in 2026 and I might give it a go on one of my streams. Back when I was working in the games industry, Game Developer Conference was the place to network. You know, you had to be there, but it was also to see all sorts of innovative new developments, hence the name. This convention had a bit of a history with weird controllers like Thor's hammers, insect wings, or even a toilet. Yeah, but this year I did not have a cat butt on my bingo card. How to pet your cat has not much information online, but I am strangely attracted to it. In a gamer kind of way though. Anatola Howard released a very cutesy animation about a bunny asking a fox what his weird dreams meant. The animation style really reminds me of older children books and it flows really well. All in all, a very cute animation building up to the fox's lackadaisy explanation.
I believe that means you are gay.
Well, the fox said it. That settles it, Dan.
I'm gay! I am gay! I am gay!
So,
now that everything has returned to normal, I think we should pick up where we left off.
Belfort and Lupin. Yes! This wonderful animation intended to also bring a bit of a history lesson each episode was released earlier this year as a French TV series. While there are English dubs available, they are technically not out yet. The story is set in 17th century France at the Palace of Versailles, the royal court of Louis XIV, whose favorite dog, Belfort, shares the main role together with Lupin, a wolf. Yes, following the tradition of Simba the lion. While they are just friends. If we are to believe the internet, it's a little bit more than that, and after watching a few episodes, I tend to side with them. All in all, it's a very fun series, and I hope to see more of them through official channels as well. Curious to see how the back and forth with the creator and the internet will evolve. Hoo boy. Dorka and their trusty steed Horatio are embarking on their quest. However, they must cross a bridge. And in order to cross this bridge, they must pass Tobias the Goblin. And in order to pass Tobias the Goblin, they must complete a whole bunch of trials. Now, in the tradition of tabletops, they could choose for violence. But Dorka does not wish to do that. And so the trials begin in this wonderful animation with hilarious timing and such a wonderful art style. And yes, I too was tricked into thinking that Horatio was voiced by no other than Charlie.
Wee woo, wee woo. Watch out, ladies. Riz patrols out and about. Usually people add like a first half to their sentences, but yeah, cool.
But I was wrong. He looks like it though. I mean, sounds like him. I was quite happy with my Dreamcast. A much acclaimed game from that era is Sonic Adventure 2. But because it was released to various other platforms as well, it introduced a whole new generation to the Blue Hedgehog, but also to Shadow. The story also served as an inspiration for the recently released Sonic 3 movie. The animator, Jonas D, made a really cool animation of the Sonic Adventure 2 story for those who are curious what the difference with the movie is, or for those who want to relive the moments from the game itself. Here on this side of the pond, our breakfast cereals were not as crazy, featuring their own characters like in the US. But even in the US, Crazy for Cocoa Puffs stood out, since their mascot, Sonny, did not really want it. Alex Bale dived into the lore behind the commercials and came up with his own conspiracy theory, going to some very dark places. How it evolved from Sonny being a pawn in the war between humans and birds. And this way is way more complicated than the Australian Emu War. I never expected a theory where Sonny sneaked into a military base as a sleeper agent to perform a coup d'etat for the human empire. What is even this? I mean, it's certainly better than all the other Warner Brothers. So rich in history, but I must admit I got a love-hate relationship with them. They have shelved or crippled wonderful animation projects in the past, including one of my favorite animations of all time, Cats Don't Dance. Those lovely animals deserved so much better. And they were about to do it again with Coyote Vs Acme. The movie was, let's say this move to that movie was widely regarded as, I think that Lego director Phil Lord said it best. But Ketchup Entertainment confirmed that they closed the deal for worldwide distribution rights to this movie, just like they did with The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie. Speaking of Looney Tunes, this brings us to our special guest, Duino Duck. This month, for digging up positivity, we have one of the most positive ducks out there that I know of, Duino Duck. This lovely fella is known for their pie-throwing antics, a love for animation, and silly slapstick. Duino, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me on. It's lovely to be here.
It's been a pleasure. We've known each other for a while already, but can you share with the audience, how did you get into the fandom?
So I found the fandom in 2009. I was in high school at the time, and I was browsing the internet like you do. And I actually, for my teenage years, had studied a lot of clowning because I had this passion for wanting to play a character and wanting to perform that I hadn't really ever found an outlet for. And in my reviewing of clown materials and videos and skits, I stumbled upon a fursuit video. So the first furry media I ever saw was Tilt Longtail's You Can't Do This to Greifer on YouTube, which involves Greifer, a personal favorite fursuit of mine, getting slimed several times. And I went, well, this is ridiculous. What's this all about?
You can't do this to Greifer on television!
And stumbled into finding out about the fandom and people who just live and embody these characters, and I was like, this is everything I've ever wanted from my entire life. I lurked for about 6 months, just kind of like taking in the sights and sounds, and then eventually was like, maybe I'll be a duck. And the rest is history.
Ah, yes. And Tilt Longtail. I've met that lovely silly fella at Motor City Furcon. And it was such a sight to behold. But one thing that Tilt and you do have in common is your absolute love for animation. And I got this sneaky suspicion Tex Avery is of that. Can you tell me, what is your favorite kind of animation?
Oh, man. I mean, it might be a bit on the obvious side, but I love just traditional 2D pencil animation. I can't get enough of it. It's so expressive, so wonderful. I know that a lot of modern animations moved away from it. I still think there's phenomenal animation out there using puppet rigs and things like that, but you really, really can't beat the expressiveness that comes with just a pencil test from someone who really knows how cartoon movement works.
Oh yeah, I have animation was a part of my studies as well at the High School of Arts in Utrecht, and well, pencil test and well, the golden rules of animation were part of the course. We actually had Ren and Stimpy during our animation classes because in order to break the rules, you must know them.
Yes. I went to school for creative writing actually, and I didn't get to do anything as far as cartoons go, but we did watch Alien in class once, which was awesome. So at least there's that.
Oh, well, Alien, that I did not anticipate that. The alien I would imagine is Marvin the Martian.
Yeah, Marvin's underrated. I'll put it out there. I think he's very fun and does not get nearly enough play.
Oh, absolutely. But back to the furry fandom. It's been a while. You are one of the OGs that I know of. What has been your favorite moment in the fandom so far?
Oh man, that's tough. One moment I always talk about and I really, really, really remember fondly is probably one of the only times I've actually done public suiting. I don't get to do it a lot because my suits are kind of like big and cumbersome, and it's difficult to just get out into a public space and be able to walk around in it. But the first year that Anthony, New England was at their second hotel, this was I think 2017. The hotel was right next to Boston Common. Which is just a big green space in the middle of Boston, and it has a very famous statue called the Make Way for Duckling statue, and it is based off the children's book that takes place in Boston, which is a bunch of ducklings walking to Boston Common to get into the water. And I always wanted a fursuit photo with it, and I said, well, this hotel is right there. It's a quarter-mile walk. I'm gonna do it. And so me and my partner, Aura, and two friends of ours made the trek out there. And I got to wave to some folks who knew a furry convention was in town. They kind of went, yeah, okay, hey, what's up? I met a family who had 3 little kids, and the oldest and middle were super into it, giving me high fives, had a great time. The 2-year-old was just yelling, no, you can't do that, no, which I will never forget because it was the funniest thing I've ever experienced. I took pictures by the statue, and it was really fun, and it's still some of my favorite fursuit photos. And then on the way back to the hotel, because this is 2017, remember, so Pokemon Go was still huge. Apparently a Pokemon Go event was starting in Boston Common, and who finds me in fursuit but my older brother?
Oh, wow.
Who was there for the Pokemon Go event, and he's like, hey man, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm catching drowsy. So he took a picture of me in suit and sent it to my parents, and my whole family knows about, my persona and furry stuff. But he sent a picture of it to mom and says, look what I found. And my mom's response was, don't bring it home. We already have one.
That's hilarious.
It was really funny. That was a really great sequence of events.
Well, speaking of suiting about, have you ever heard of Nordic Furcon?
I have heard of it, yes. Some friends went last year and absolutely raved about it.
Oh, yes. It is my home convention. And because you love to clown around and you are known for throwing pies about, do note that next year our team will be Cirque du Nord, or circus themed.
Which, by the way, the animation for that is phenomenal. The announcement animation, I was like transfixed, going, "Oh my god, that's the best theme ever!" It was sent to me by several people saying, "Hey, so you're going, right?" A lot of my European friends, especially. I have never. I was gonna say never been to a con outside the U.S., but I've never been outside the U.S. I only got my passport about a year ago. So I would love to try to make it next year. I will see what's in the cards because it's still a little bit early. But with that theme going on, it might be hard to say no to, and it might be time to try to bring my pie throwing panel out of retirement because I've not done it since pre-quarantine.
You got a pie throwing panel.
Oh yes, I have a whole presentation. I actually just gave it on my stream on Pi Day. I did it virtually for the first time, and it went over very well, I think.
Oh, wow. Now that is one thing I had no idea. Now, I will badger you and try to get you over to Nordic Furcon because
I'd expect no less.
You had me at pie. But with that, also the fursuit walk, the fursuit parade from Nordic Furcon is one of the biggest in the entirety of Europe. And since you told that little bit about fursuiting, we're going to try to get close to that magical moment. And for all that matters, do you have any recommendation for people who just got into the fandom?
When you say recommendation, do you mean just like people who they would appreciate or anything like that?
Well, you just got in the furry fandom and you thought, hey, you know what? Walking around as a weird duck or throwing pies or just being a meerkat or love artwork. Hey, this is a fun community. I want to be part of that. And do you have any recommendations? Like when you first got into the fandom, any recommendations you would give based on your own experiences?
Okay, yeah. I say this to a lot of people, both seasoned and new, but I think it applies. It is love what you love loudly. The furry fandom is a huge space full of tons of really interesting and talented and hilarious people. And it's very easy to, see people's numbers and go, oh, I can't, like, they're way too popular for me, et cetera, et cetera. The first thing is we're all just people. Like, we genuinely are. And some people are more open to friendship than others, but don't write someone off just because of their follower count or what have you. If you have similar interests and you're cool and, like, you can be cool with each other, you'll get along. But the best way to find people is to just talk about the things that you enjoy and love them unabashedly. I am loud about the things that I like because it lets people know, hey, here's the things that I like. And I grew up in a way where I was really embarrassed to like silly things. I was, tried to be very serious, tried to be very reserved, and it didn't work for me. And so I want people to know that this is an option. Like, being a cartoon character on the internet is something that you can just do. And I didn't really realize it was an option, quote unquote, until I met my friend Swiftwind back in 2010, who is a bald eagle who gets literally bald through various hilarious circumstances. And I love it. And I was like, I want to do something like that. And so I gradually became more and more cartoony until I became this, gesturing at myself. But I love what you love loudly. Just, it is, as long as no one's getting hurt and you just have this special interest, no matter how niche, if you yell about it loud enough, you will find other people who like it too, and they'll come to you.
That is a wonderful piece of advice. And I would like to thank you for taking some time out of your busy pie-laden schedule. And thank you very much for being with us on the show.
What do you mean taking time out? I've got one right here for you. This is on call.
All right. Yeah, true enough. All right. Okay, hey, thank you very much, and I hope to see you next year at Nordic Furcon. You made a commitment.
I hope to be there. I hope to be seen. Thank you very much.
All right, have a good one.
You too, Thabo. Thank you.
First of all, thank you very much for being a little bit patient for that delay. I was hospitalized, but I got better. However, thanks to all of you, the road to recovery has been so much better. And I'm back with new energy and ideas. And I will be around almost every Monday from 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. Central European Time on Twitch and here with an art stream. If you want to support me, by all means. I do have my little artwork tea store for you, but you can also become a Twitch subscriber or YouTube channel member and get a mention in each Digging Up Positivity video like these amazing critters. On Subscribestar we have Barre de Vloef, Cosmic with a K, Taros and a Manic Spectacle Cat. And on YouTube we have the channel members Rex the Warhorse, Lorek Bernison, Joe and Mavi, Whiffer and Longtooth. And on Patreon we have Tantru McNally, Ishnula and Els Dekkers. And of course the Twitch subscribers Droan Starbear, Evolver TV, Falconio, Light Nympha, Jake, Swex the Mischievous Fox, Lady Lian, Susan Sloth, Hansana Janssen and Ayabu Yin. A big thank you for all the support, especially after last month. I was humbled and warmed by all your well wishes and kind messages. The next episode will be on May the 3rd. And during that weekend, you may also run into me at Comic Con Holland together with my friends from Meets for You. Stay awesome and all the hugs!